Hey, what's up? My name is Rasek. A while back, I made a video talking about a game mode that I thought would fit Spellbreak better than a Battle Royale. And now, seeing that Prolet is actually making a new game mode, I'd like to tone back my idea to something that's probably easier for them to make and incorporate some of the suggestions I received from people. So, the first thing is that I know Prolit wants to use their map that they have now as something that's kind of universal for any other new game modes they would like. So they probably would prefer to just use this map for their new game mode. So I was thinking what they probably could do is just kind of section off parts of the map with just with the circle. They already like the blue zone right now, the storm, whatever you want to call it. Just center the storm on a castle and lock it at a fixed diameter for that zone. And that way people are kind of stuck in there. They can go outside the zone, take damage, but they're really forced into just fighting around this one castle. So ideally there'd be two teams. Each team would be about 10 to 20 players or so, and you'd spawn on one side of the map with the rest of your team. When you spawn in, you would spawn with the gauntlet that you chose that goes according to your class, but also there would be all the common loot out in front of you when you spawn as something so you can gear up all the way before you head out into the field and start breaking spells, I guess. So once you're geared up and all that, you can then move out. There'll be chests everywhere along the map, just like it is now. Um, as you move closer to the center of the map, there would obviously be more rare loot. So the closer you get to the enemy, the higher chance you have at finding better loot. And for legendaries, I was thinking you still use mana vaults. You would have mana vaults just spawn down the half line of the map, and they would probably not all spawn at once, but one at a time. And that would kind of draw the fight to different parts of the map, where you could start the mana vault, but then are you gonna have control of that area by the time it actually pops, or is the enemy team gonna run over it and then take whatever's inside? So it kind of dictates where the next fight's gonna be, because you obviously want to get the legendary loot first before the enemy team does. Another thing to go with is loot. In this game mode, I don't think dropping loot when you die is a good idea, because in this game mode you will respawn, and so you don't want to lose everything you already earned. So you probably just keep whatever you had when you died. Someone mentioned maybe dropping what's in your inventory. Um, that could also be a good idea. I have another crazy idea for the loots, getting new loot as well. I'll talk about it at the end of the video with another idea. But so that's mainly how to get loot. Um, Next, after that, is the two ways. I have two ways to win this game mode. The first would be your exiling the enemy team. Each team would get so many respawn tickets, kind of like you get in Battlefield or in Mordhau. So ideally, each team would have 150, 200 tickets, or say, and every time you're exiled, you have to use one of those tickets to respawn. And once your team runs out of respawn tickets, you guys lose the game. So you don't have to worry too much, about dying and then have to go start a new lobby and everything. You would respawn, but you obviously can't just be running it down mid, inting every time, because then you will screw your team over by throwing away all your respawn tickets. Also, maybe when there wouldn't really be a down state here, but maybe if you do get down, you'd have 10 to 15 seconds to get revived in case something happened in a 2v1 where the other guy got you really quick, but it was really close, or you walked to his firewall or something. He could pick you up, or maybe your teammate accidentally hit you with friendly fire and knocked you down. He could just pick you up again right away. So I think that would be the only way to kind of keep the pickup system. Other than that, you would just have to go back to the spawn and move your way back to the middle again. The other way to win would be something I talked about a lot in the last video, where it'd be power crystals, or like a Nexus kind of thing in League of Legends. So ideally, each team would want to defend their own power crystal while attacking the enemies. And if you were to destroy the enemy team's power crystal before you ran out of respawn tickets and before they destroyed yours, you would win the game. It's kind of a secondary, not a secondary, but like another. I guess it is secondary victory. Another way to get a victory. If you don't really want to be fighting the whole time, you can just attack the power crystal. Um, one idea I thought it would probably be necessary for balancing different classes when fighting for the power crystal would be there would be two layers to it. The first layer would be weak against long range items like ice, fire, and lightning. And then once that outer shell cracks, the inner layer would be very resistant to those three, and then weak against stone, tox, and wind. That way, you can break it from long range, but if you really want to finish the crystal off, you would have to get close and move past the enemy lines to win the game that way. Um, I think that just adds another kind of layer to and depth to the skill and strategy of the game. Do we only fight and go try to take out their respawn tickets, or do we just turtle back and defend, or do we, sneak across, or just full blunt force charge their power crystal? I mean, it kind of adds more options than everyone just sitting in the middle of the map, team deathmatch, fighting over mana vaults. That's my basic game idea. So other than that, I have two other ideas that could benefit this, but they're probably way too much to be implemented anytime soon, if at all. So the first idea would be a way to kind of level up your own gear through points you earn by exiling and just fighting enemies. So every time you would exile or get an assist on an enemy, for an exile you get like 3 points, for an assist you get 1. And then in your spawn you would have a like workshop or something you can just open with the tab menu, and you can invest those points into leveling up your main gauntlet, your belt, your boots, your amulet, your rune, things like that. So say you already have a rare fire gauntlet, but you want to upgrade to epic, but you just can't seem to get one out of the chest. You could invest so many of your exile points towards that, and then once you finally complete it or have enough points for it, it would just throw on an epic fire gauntlet if that's what you wanted. And then now every time you spawn, you'll spawn with an epic fire gauntlet. Kind of a way to incentivize people to fight and get into the game, not just sit around the outside and just watch or just do other things. It kind of encourages people to play and just test the game like we're supposed to be doing, just testing the game. I think it'd be neat. I was also thinking maybe it's a team-wide workshop kind of thing, so your team as a whole can invest in the same thing. So like once your team builds enough points for maybe unlocking rare runes, you now have all the rare runes in your spawn, or rare gauntlets, or epic, and things like that. Obviously, the higher rarity, the more expensive it gets, but with a team, once you unlock that in your spawn area where there's already common loot, you would now have the next rarity of loot able to pick up right as you spawn. I think that might work better if you do want people to kind of lose what they had when they die or get exiled. That way they can kind of pick back up where they were, but not too much. And a comeback mechanic to that is because obviously if one team's just destroying the other, they could already have rare everything and the other team's not even at uncommon yet. I would say the winning team could never be more than one rarity ahead of the losing team. So say the winning team just unlocked rare and the first team's only halfway to uncommon, it would automatically bump the losing team up to uncommon. That way the fights don't become very snowbally. It doesn't really help the losing team too much. I mean, they're still going to be generating points probably just as slowly, but also still giving them a chance to come back in the game. So the workshop was the first kind of far out there idea. The second idea I had is quite a bit, but I think it would be really cool, is if they just made an entire new map for this game mode. I know it's a lot to ask for, and last time I drew up a shitty map on Paint, but this time let me hide this. I kind of catted up a model really quick of a generalized map idea Um, First, there you have your two castles, a bridge that kind of sets like a one lane kind of thing to each castle, and then two side islands as a way to get to them. There would obviously still be the fracture to keep the theme with the floating islands. Um, on here, I have two power crystals in this game mode actually, just because it's more symmetrical, it'd be easier. That way, you have to defend two parts of your castle at once. You can't just have everyone sitting in one area. It kind of spreads the defense and it gives a aid to attacking and encourage people to attack instead of just sitting back and defending the whole time. I After I made this, I thought I would have made some changes to it, but I would have rather had another island in the middle with bridges connecting the main castle islands to that middle island with another medium-sized castle there. I think that just kind of adds an environment to block vision from one cast to the other, so you can't really see what the enemy is doing and just like or just snipe ice all the way over there. And then also that would make more space between the side islands and the castle islands. And I thought it'd be cool to have small little fractures of land that are at different elevations through there as another environment and a risky way to get from one side to the other without going over the main bridge. You would have to jump from little fracture to fracture over there. Kind of a way, maybe you want to avoid Stone Shaper, maybe you just don't want to be in the giant death ball fight that will probably be in the middle. I thought that was just another cool way to incorporate the map. These castles would have some loot in here. I thought you could have the legendaries spawn in the top here and on the center island or center of the bridge, or the mana vaults could spawn there. Also, on the topic of destructible environment, just like the power crystals, I thought there could be a gate, if possible, that you could destroy to make it to get easier into the enemy castle. Because right now, obviously, these would probably still be worn castles like they are now, with little holes to get through and stuff like that. I thought if you could maybe bust down the main gate, it would be cooler to then work an easier access route into the castle. So in here, yeah, everything would be just the same as kind of before, except you would spawn in your castle, maybe like in this main tower or in the turrets on the side, and then you would kind of pan out from there. Obviously, I don't have anything else, but maybe a village out in front of it, or I don't know, just different ways. You get chests everywhere, find loot on the ground just like it is. Maybe there's some stuff behind the castle, who knows. But I think a more symmetrical map would benefit this game mode a lot more than just sectioning off parts of the map they have now. And they could even just copy paste the old castles or the newer castles onto here and just use any of their preset, their copy paste buildings to make these. So that's my video on a new game mode idea and some other ideas I had. If you liked it, please let me know why. If you hated it, please let me know why. I don't really expect any of these to happen. I just want to generate discussion so that Prola can maybe see what we want in a future game mode, or even just to generate ideas for them that they think are cool, or just to get minds spinning. So I'll post a link from my old post in here as well, so in case you missed that, if you want to see a more detailed idea of what I had in mind. But so please just let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.